So what do you think separates the investor that makes money from the market from the one that does not make money from the stock market? If you think the answer is knowledge, you are wrong. Now, here are 3 things you need to know before buying your next stock. The first thing you need to know is, before buying a stock, you need conviction. We are in an information age, and that means you see a lot of things out there about what to buy and what not to buy. But before deciding to go for any option, you need to know your why. Now, there are 2 broad categorizations you need to consider. One is the qualitative, which is the feelings part, and the other is the quantitative, which is the numbers part. Now, for the qualitative, you need to understand something called the moat. Now, the moat is what differentiates the company from other companies in the same industry. You need to understand why this company stands out. You need to understand why it might stand out in the future. Beyond that, you need to understand the business itself. Like Warren Buffett said, don't invest in any business you don't understand. Now, if you have read the book Richest Man in Babylon, you would have seen this play out. In the stock market, it is no different. You don't invest in things you don't know about. Now, after the moat, you need to understand the management. Now, who are the people involved in this business? Do they have strong knowledge? What is their recent development, or what is their recent contribution to the industry? Do they have skin in the game? I see it play out often that people buy stocks in companies where the insiders, the CFO, the CEO, the board of directors have less than 0.1% in the company. If the company goes south, do they have something? These are not things you can take your biro and pen to find out. There are things you need to research. There are things you need to see online. There are things you need to know before buying stock. Now, beyond that, you also need to know the future prospects of the stock. You don't buy a stock only to sell after 2 days. You buy a stock most times to have a longer time frame. Now, if you are buying that, the question to ask is, can this business survive the next few years? Can this business still be around? It is worth asking. If the stock market closes now for the next 3 months, 3 years, would you still be happy to own a part of this business? In case you don't know, buying shares in a company is buying shares in a business, a physical business that has operations around. So if you don't understand all these things, it would be difficult to make money from the stock market. Now, beyond the qualitative part of the stock, you need to also understand the quantitative part of the stock. And this is where most people miss it. You need to understand the financials. You need to understand the numbers behind the stock, the market cap. You need to understand the balance sheet. You need to understand that assets, liabilities, the debts, and stuff like that. You need to understand the revenue. I see many people now buying companies that have 0 revenue, all in the name of you're buying based on hype. It won't end well. Is the company drowning in debt? Do they have enough free cash flow to survive? How has their assets been over the years? What's their revenue like? Is it increasing over the years, or is it reducing? Now, all these will give you a perspective to the company from the numbers part. Remember, conviction is built on 2 legs: the quantitative part, which is the numbers, and the qualitative part, which is the feelings, the story behind the stock. Congratulations, you have your convictions right. You know the why behind buying this stock or that stock. Next is patience. Now, this is a very underrated virtue because most people are not patient enough to see their convictions play out. Like Warren Buffett once said, the stock market is a place to transfer wealth from the impatient to the patient. Now, if you are hoping to get your money back with profit in the next 1 week, the stock market is not the place for you. If you're hoping to get it back in the next 1 month, the stock market is not the place for you. Oftentimes, it takes several months to several years for your convictions to play out. These are some of the things that great investors have said about patience. Well, in part, I think the major issue comes from the perspective people have about investing in the stock market. When you see this as you being a part of a business, not just numbers on the screen or figures somewhere, it becomes easier to be patient. If you run businesses, you know things don't just play out in few hours or few days. It might take time for even the thoughts in your heart to materialize in terms of customers, in terms of fulfillment of orders, and a few things like that. You know, Peter Lynch once said, he said, time in the market is more important than timing the market. And while I don't fully believe in that, I have my reservations about that. which will be explained in subsequent videos. Now, I believe it's an ageless principle. Time in the market is important. Now, the third and final thing is you need to accept the results, no matter what it is. Now, oftentimes the market does not move in the direction we envisaged it would. That the global economy is a bit strange, a bit unpredictable, and you can't always guess right where you think the market will move. You might have your convictions right, you might have waited, but then you don't always hit the jackpot. Now, if you get about 40, 30, 20% in the market, you have done well. On average, the S&P 500 goes up about 19% every year, and that does not mean it goes up every single year. That's just the average. So if you make more than that, you have done well. If you make less than that or even lose money, just take the lessons learned, improve on your processes, and come back stronger. Most of the big investors we see today didn't get it right at first. Most of them didn't make the big money at first, but over time they refined their processes, they learned from their mistakes, and the rest, they say, is history. Now, if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We have very beautiful videos coming up on the stock market. Nothing in this video constitutes an advisory service to buy or sell any stock. If you want to, you should reach out to your financial advisor.